Teachers, let me begin today by sharing a story you might connect with. You've been putting out fires all day, managing classroom behaviors in every class, calling home and following up with parents, covering for a teammate who's out sick, grading assignments and updating Power School while trying to log data the district needs for state reporting between interruptions. And if this isn't enough, you don't remember the last time you had a bathroom break. And now you're in the media center decompressing before that mandatory meeting at the end of the day, when someone from the district office stands up and introduces yet another new initiative. More forms, more data, more expectations, and you feel it bubbling up from inside you, a slow burning sensation behind your eyes. Your shoulders tighten. In fact, everything tightens as you struggle to silence that deep sigh that is boiling up. Eyes rolled, brows furrowed, head is dipped. And your brain just begins to whisper loudly, "You have got to be kidding me. One more thing to do, one more box to check." And you look up and immediately know you're not alone. You see it in the eyes of your teammates. The fatigue, the frustration, the silent resistance, the emotional heaviness that comes when you're being stretched too thin. It's fatigue wrapped in frustration. You're simply stressed out and maxed out. Welcome to Mr. Martinez's Mindset Messages. I'm Mr. Martinez, and I want to thank you for joining me here today. This is the first video in a deeper dive into the ABCs of personal growth and development. This framework has fueled my philosophy and shaped my approach to helping young people discover, dream, develop, and deploy their inherent sense of value and purpose. Today, we begin by unpacking the A in ABCs. Attitude determines action. So you might be wondering, why on earth did he start with such a frustrating and all too familiar scene? It's simple, because I have lived it, and I know you have lived it too. And if you're here today and you're someone who cares for and works with youth in a capacity other than teaching, I'm positive that you too have experienced similar scenarios that have led to the same anxiety. I don't bring this scenario up to dwell on the struggle, but to reflect on it, to connect the dots between our lived experience and the students we serve. Look at it this way. When you show up for work each day, before you are anything else, you are a person, and you deserve to be treated like a person. A person is who you are. Being a teacher, that's what you do. It's your role. Well, likewise, the same thing applies to our students. When they show up to school each day and walk through the doors of your classrooms, before they're anything else, they're people too. And they deserve to be treated like people. People is who they are. Being a student is what they do. That's their role. More specifically, they're growing, developing, impressionable people. So consider this. If the stressors of life can evoke emotional responses and reactions out of us, why should we expect anything different from our students? If we want to teach emotional regulation, resilience, and accountability to the students we serve, it starts by practicing these things ourselves. That's the heart of the ABCs framework. These principles are not just for kids. They're for us too. And really, they're for us first. They're intended to provide an understanding that can help us be more effective in reaching and supporting students. I mean, think about it. When we reflect on how our attitudes drive our actions, especially in the hard, messy moments, we become more effective, more empathetic, and more consistent models for the young people who are watching us. The better we understand and are able to navigate what's happening in us, the better equipped we'll be to guide them. So reviewing that opening scene isn't about reliving the frustration. No, it's an invitation. It's an invitation to reflect, to reframe, and to lead with intention. It's an invitation to grow and to learn. And speaking of leading with intention, that doesn't start until we have an understanding of what attitude really is. So let me start by offering this working definition of attitude. Attitude is a way of thinking about someone, something, or somewhere. And this way of thinking can include the situations and the circumstances we face each day. To add a little more clarity here, attitude determines action can be described as your mindset in motion. Your attitude, your way of thinking, it shapes how you respond, how you show up, and how you lead, even on the hard days. So why does attitude matter? The late pastor and author Charles Swindoll said it best. He said, "Life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it." So here's a truth we can all understand, especially those of us who are in the trenches working with students and supporting young people on the daily. We don't always have a say in what happens to us, but we always have a say and choose how we respond. Literally, for years now, the students in my circle of influence have heard me say on nearly a daily basis, "You got the power, and that power is choice." And guess what? Your attitude is your choice. Your way of thinking, that's your decision. Having this understanding is empowering. It can help us to frame the positive mental posture that we can bring into every interaction with students, with coworkers, with parents, and yes, even in mandatory after-school staff meetings. Your way of thinking can either escalate or de-escalate a conflict. It can build trust or destroy it. It can open doors or slam them shut. So why does your attitude matter? Because your attitude determines your actions. And another reason your attitude matters is because it doesn't just affect the people around you. It also affects you. Research in positive psychology consistently shows that our mindset, especially how we frame adversity, impacts our behavior, productivity, and even physical and mental health. According to the American Psychological Association, individuals who approach stressors with a growth-oriented, proactive mindset are more likely to adapt, solve problems, and maintain healthy relationships in high-pressure environments. And I'm here to tell you, I want these positive outcomes for you, and I absolutely want them for our students. So, let's get real for a moment. If it's true that attitude determines action, and the actions you're taking aren't producing the outcomes you want, then here's the hard but honest truth. You won't change your outcomes until you change your actions, and you won't change your actions until you change your attitude, and you can't change your attitude until you change the way you think. As the late great innovator and inventor Henry Ford said, "If you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got." Another way of framing that is, you will only change what you can no longer tolerate. If you're willing to tolerate the outcomes of your actions, guess what? You're going to always get the outcomes of your actions. But if you want to change them, the good news is you can. Because if it's true that your attitude is your choice, that's all day. You have the power, and that power is choice. So Allow me to use this metaphor from the world of photography. Your mindset, your attitude, the way you think is kind of like a camera with interchangeable lenses. The camera itself is your mind. It captures the images and records the moments. But the lens you choose to use, well, that determines what you see, how you see it, and what's in focus. If you use a wide-angle lens, you get a broader view and more of the picture is in focus. There's more context, more space to see and understand the full picture. When you use a zoom lens, you're focusing in on one specific detail, but often that focusing in is at the expense of seeing much else around that detail. There are times when a wide-angle lens provides the best perspective, and there are times when you need to zoom in. It all depends on the moment you want to capture. It depends on what you want to focus on. There are all kinds of lenses, filters, and modifiers. Each one is capable of shifting, distorting, or enhancing the image in front of you. Which one is used is determined by the creative objective of the photographer. It's not about what the camera sees. It's about what you are choosing to focus on through the lens you've selected. And that's the point here. The lens or modifier in this metaphor represents your attitude. And just like a photographer selects the right lens to capture the image they want, you choose how you want to see the world. And that choice shapes everything. Barry Neil Kaufman said it best, and his quote is very fitting here. He said, "The way we choose to see the world creates the world we see." All right. That's probably enough of this illustration for you to get the picture. So here are some takeaways. Your attitude, your way of thinking, that's your mindset in motion. It shapes your actions, frames your perspectives, and even influences how others experience you. Whether you're using a wide-angle lens or zooming in on a single struggle, remember, the perspective you choose can open the door to greater empathy, deeper connection, and more intentional impact. When you shift your attitude, you shift your outcomes. And when you show up with that kind of clarity and purpose, your students feel it and they'll follow your lead. That's the goal. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If today's message connected with you in any way, show me some love by hitting that like button and subscribe for more upcoming mindset messages. As you know, my goal is to build a supportive community of educators and fellow youth development practitioners. So, in closing, I want to ask, can you think of a time when shifting your attitude changed or shaped the outcome of a tough day or a difficult situation? If so, drop a comment below and share your story. It may be exactly the encouragement someone in our community needs to hear. And, as always, feel free to ask questions. I'm here for you. And like I said, if I don't know the answer, I'm happy to learn and grow with you. In our next video, we're going to unpack the B in ABCs. Belief determines behavior. I hope to see you there. But until then, much love, much respect, peace.